I really wish that the title was clickbait. It like half is, but like it would be really great if it was just completely clickbait. I've never made a YouTube video before. This is completely out of my comfort zone. Very nervous about it, but we're just gonna try, you know? We're just gonna try and wing it and see what happens. This is a necessary video to make. It's gonna be a little boring, but I feel like it's necessary as sort of the start of like my stash busting series. Just kind of like walking you through how my stash got to be like this, what I plan to do with it, and then every kind of episode after this should be a lot less formal, a lot less me sitting and looking at you and just like talking about this. So let's just do it. I've got like notes here. Like, you know, I've got like notes on my phone of all the, not my phone, I've got like notes on my tablet of like all the things I want to say. And I'll do like a brief introduction as to who I am. I just want this to be as boring as, or I don't want it to be as boring as possible. I want it to be as entertaining as possible. So if I can make it like not boring, that would be great. So I'm just gonna introduce myself shortly, and then hopefully I'll spread in more tidbits about myself in later videos. So hi, I go by Cherry online. It's not my real name, but it's you know, we all have our online names, right? A lot of people just go with Cherry. It's probably easier that way. So Cherry, whichever works. I like to knit. I like to crochet. I love yarn, which I'm sure is very obvious by the title of the video. So I want to elaborate on this a lot. I do not have 1,300 skeins of yarn. Like 1,300 physical skeins of yarn, I do not have that much. I have a lot of yarn, but it's not 1,300 skeins. And I'll tell you why I'm using that number. I've seen a lot of like videos and series on YouTube for like stash busting. The person I'm thinking of in particular is Retro Claude, where they use the 1 skein equals 50 grams kind of calculation, you know, like 50 grams of yarn is equal to 1 skein. I think that's kind of how I'm doing it. So like you can go on Ravelry and there's a button that lets you export your stash into an Excel file. And in this Excel file, there's like a bunch of like different things that you can look at about your stash, like the kind of yarn you have, the kind of fiber, how much is left, like how many skeins are remaining and stuff like that. But the number that I was using was in the remaining grams column. And I just like hovered my cursor over all of them and like dragged it down, and it told me how many grams I had of all the yarn in my stash, all the yarn that I've logged on to Ravelry. And that number was a whopping 67,945 grams. Like that number is kind of hard to process. So if we divide it by the 50 grams per skein, the number is 1,358.9. So, okay, another disclaimer, more elaboration. It is probably not that number that I have. There's simultaneously more and less yarn in that total, because like I didn't log every project I've done, every like practice swatch I've made, all the yarn I've used, but also I didn't log all of the yarn that I have. So that 1,358.9 skeins is just the best estimate that I have right now. It'll get updated as I work through my stash and see how much I really have open and remaining, but for right now, that's just an estimate, and I guess it's a decent one. But that's just based on what I've logged. I've been much better about logging into Ravelry and like making sure every gram is accounted for. with like my more recent projects and buys and things like that. So that number isn't completely accurate, but it's pretty close. So I have written next, like, where is all this yarn? So I'm sure you'll notice there is a distinct lack of yarn in the surrounding area. That is because the areas that have yarn are a bit disorganized right now, and I'm a bit too embarrassed to show you. Don't worry, you will be seeing all my yarn, but for right now, we're just gonna have to deal with this, if that's okay. So there's several containers here in the apartment. I've had this place with my boyfriend since April, so that's a good 6 months now. Yeah. And I have like a big IKEA kind of cupboard full of yarn. It's not organized, of course. And I have one of those desks that has like an upper kind of compartment that like you can open the doors, and there's like LED lights on the inside. There's yarn in there too. At my parents' house, there's a ton, and I'm still sorting through my old room. So there's a ton of yarn in there. There's a lot in my storage unit. I had to get a storage unit. There's a lot in there too. And then there's some in my car right now. It's not a lot, I promise, but you know, just like transporting things back and forth, I just haven't gotten it all out of my car. So that's where all my yarn is. It's not in the background, but believe me, you will see my yarn. As soon as I feel kind of confident in the environment that I have. And you'll definitely be seeing it like just while I use it and make like little vlog-ish videos. So yeah, this whole stash busting thing, it's not new to me. I was kind of inspired to do it like, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 months ago. I've tried to do it over the past 7 or 8 months. I started with less. I started with less yarn and I have accumulated more. So let me just kind of tell you. Let me pull that up. I have like good notes on my phone. I have like this whole like stash busting thing where like here's the start up here, and I kind of logged what I had, and then every project or every time I bought yarn, that's what's in red. I log it. So I started like 7 or 8 months ago with 57,678 grams or 1,153.56 skeins. So within that amount of time, I have accumulated 10,267 grams or 205.34 skeins worth of yarn. I've made a few mistakes in my life. So okay, let's kind of talk about why. I feel like that's important to kind of know why I failed and to be able to say, hey, this is why, we're gonna work on it. So that's a good thing. So here's kind of what's going on. Well, okay, here's what I think is going on. They're theories. One of my main problems with, you know, keeping a steady stash is that it just takes so much more time to use yarn than it takes to buy it. I'll give you a few examples. Like this year I've made some clothes, right? I love making clothes. It's what I've been doing most. But of course, clothes takes a lot of time and they take a lot of yarn, especially because I'm a plus size woman. Like, you know, it takes more yarn and more time to make something that fits me. So I think it took me about like 2.5 months to make a tank top this summer, because it was fingering weight yarn, like fingering and lace weight held together. And the pattern was a little bit complicated, but also I just kept messing up. Like I messed up a few times, had to rip back, had to start over completely. You know, it was a labor of love. You know, it took a long amount of time of me just focusing solely on that project. Then it took me another few weeks to make a DK weight sweater. And the sweater I'm working on right now, which is made out of fingering weight, it's a bit complicated and it's taken me a good month and a week so far. I should have it done by the end of this month, October 2025, but you know, I started mid-September, so it just takes a lot of time to make clothing and to use yarn. Meanwhile, to buy yarn, it takes like 2 seconds, you know, like you put it in your cart and then you hit checkout. It is a lot easier to buy yarn, and sometimes you have to, you know, like sometimes you don't have the right yarn for a project. Sometimes you don't have the right fiber or the color you want. it happens sometimes. Oh yes, about time. Like, I work full time. You know, the only time I really get to focus on it and actually get a lot of leeway in my projects is after work. And that's maybe a good 4 hours every day, depending on if I don't do anything with that time. Or like weekends, holidays, that kind of thing. So that's one of my excuses, I'll say. So yeah, there's kind of my summary of like the first reason. The second reason that I have written down is that I'm a yarn snob and most of my stash is acrylic. Okay, let me explain. Full disclaimer, if you use acrylic yarn, if you use manufactured fibers, completely fine. I do too. I also do it. I'm not judging you. It's cheaper, it's more accessible, like there's so many colors and it's very versatile. Like, I'm not gonna like judge you for that. Personally, these days I prefer other fibers, you know, like your merino, your wool, your cotton, your alpaca, your mohair, you know. All of that to say, again, I'm not judging you. I still use acrylic because I have a ton of acrylic. When I was buying yarn back in 2021 and 2022 and 2023, I didn't know that acrylic was plastic. Call me stupid. I'll call me stupid, but it's fine. So there's a lot of acrylic in my stash, but because I like using other fibers to make clothes, like the ones that I feel are gonna look better and last longer, that acrylic isn't being used. So I have to figure out what to do with all of that is still in my stash. That's another one of my excuses. Like, just, you know, like, it's not what I want to use right now, which is great and all, but I should use it. And my last reason is that I have ADHD and my plans change constantly. Since 2021, I've gotten a lot better at managing my ADHD. But back then it was, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna buy 25 skeins of yarn because I plan on making a blanket out of it. And then the yarn gets here and I've already moved on, you know? So then that yarn just kind of sits there and waits for me to figure out what to do with it. And I wait until I'm motivated to use it. Thankfully, these days, I have been a lot better at kind of like sticking with a plan. It's not perfect. Like, I'm still wishy-washy about what I want to do, what I want to use. I get hyperfixations and then they're gone, you know? But I have consistently, for the past few months, been sticking with one project at a time and making sure that's finished and then moving on to something else, and like having my plans and my Ravelry queue and stuff like that. But that is also why I've accumulated so much yarn, because I thought I would use it and then I didn't. Current plans, how to tackle this problem and what I plan to do with my stash busting series. So if you've watched Retro Claude's series, you kind of know the way that I'm gonna go about this. She uses the 50 grams equals 1 skein thing. She only counts yarn as being used after the project is completed. So that's what I'm gonna do too. Once the project is completed, that total will be taken off. I am going to go no buy. No more buying yarn. No excuses, except for when the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival comes, because it's just beautiful. I'll try and go in with a plan. This past year, I did so good. I went in knowing I wanted a certain yarn, a certain kind of yarn, and I only bought that. I bought the tank top's worth of that. I was so proud. Good job me, you know, like, and that's what I'm going to try and do next year too. And the other exception is if I need more yarn to complete a project. So if I'm like halfway through a sweater and I'm running out of yarn and I can buy more for that sweater online, I will do that. I will buy yarn to use up yarn, if that makes sense. Like, buy it to use it, you know? Buy it for the greater good, yeah. I hope I explained that right. I'm gonna finish projects. I have to. Sorry, there's a cat down here and she's very cute. Her name's Nami and she's very orange. And now she's rubbing against my feet, so. But any project I start, I should be able to finish it. I'm working on the Southwood sweater by, oh gosh, what's her name? I wrote it down. By Sharon Hartley. She is at River Road Knits on Instagram. Beautiful sweater. Oh my gosh. When I saw it on Ravelry for the first time, I fell in love and I knew immediately I needed to make it. I needed to buy yarn for it. I needed to make it. So I'm making that right now out of Knitting for Olive Merino in a bottle green and dusty artichoke. Gorgeous sweater. Beautiful. But yeah, I have to finish that and I'm looking forward to finishing it. Other plans, more clothes. I can't help it. I love making clothes. There's just something about it. I can't stop. Like it's just so interesting to me, and then to be able to actually wear something I've made, like it's just awesome. It's awesome. So I'm gonna keep doing that. More plans. I'm probably gonna end up frogging and reusing yarn at some point. There are some things I've made in the past that I'm not overly proud of, and that yarn can definitely be used for other projects. Of course, when I frog this yarn, it will be re-added to my total. The 1,300 plus skeins of yarn right now is the yarn I have free. You know, it's the yarn that isn't used. So when I unravel old projects, that yarn is now not used anymore. It's going to be added back to the total. If it means I get something out of it that I like more and that I'm going to actually put wear and tear into, then so be it. So be it. Okay, so this one is it's a bit personal to me. I'm gonna be vulnerable with y'all for a moment. So my biggest dream in life is being a mom. That's what I want for myself and for my life. I've wanted to be a mom since I was a child. You know, it's always been in the books for me. So I kind of like to keep that in my mind whenever I do something, you know, like just kind of like know my goal and kind of work towards it. And I know it's not my time to be a mom. It's not the best time for me, and it wouldn't be the best time for my child if they were born right now. So I thought long and hard, like, how can I still put effort into that goal without having the actual pregnancy and birth and parenting part happen? And I thought, well, why don't I combine it with one of my hobbies? And so I thought, you know, I'll use some of my extra yarn to make baby clothes and hold them for the future. You know, like just put them in like a plastic tub or something and wait until I can actually use them. So yeah, that's what I plan to do. And like, because I don't know when my future children will be born, or like if they'll be like boy or girl, you know, that kind of thing, I'll focus on making like gender neutral kind of year-round clothes. So like your rompers, your onesies, your pants, socks, like cardigans for layering, you know, and just like gender neutral colors, just in case anything happens. You know, I can't predict the future. If you can, then let me know. And I'm planning on just like using like, you know, leftovers from projects that I can't put towards anything that would work for me, you know? So like, say I buy like 8 skeins of yarn for a sweater and I have 3 left over, like that's probably enough to make something for a kid, but not for me. So I'll make something for them. And also this kind of thing, like making clothes for kids, it's good practice for learning knitting techniques that I would need to know just to make anything for myself or for others or for grown-ups someday. Practicing on something small, I'm into it. So yeah, that's one of my big plans, and I'll keep you updated on it. Also, there's the possibility of donating yarn. I have a box in my room right now that is like full of acrylic yarn and like other yarns I don't like. I'm talking your Red Heart Super Savers. Like it's just too scratchy for me. I don't like it. Just some other stuff I bought that I kind of regret buying. I just actually need to donate it. You know, like it's ready to leave my stash. I just need to actually do it. I also want to try and make more charity projects. There was a time in the past few years where I made charity hats nonstop. You know, I was just making any kind of hat I could find. And it was very rewarding. It felt good. Those hats are still in my room because I have not donated them yet. Surprise. I want to make like hats, scarves, blankets, like baby clothes. That works too. Just like things to donate, you know, to actually do good. I will do everything I can to keep my Ravelry up to date, which means like the more yarn I find, I'm going to be logging. The 1358 point whatever it was will probably change a lot as I, you know, like reweigh things and unwind things and find more yarn and donate more yarn. So that number isn't going to be completely stable. Like it'll go up, it'll go down, it'll change a lot. So, but hopefully eventually it'll be stable. As I measure what I actually have, that number will just become more accurate. So I'm warning you in advance about that. Okay, and honestly, that's it. Well, let me tell you about my current plans for the very, very near future. So I'm still working on my Southwood sweater. It's gorgeous. I can show you. Hang on. So here it is right now. It is in Knitting for Olive Merino in bottle green and dusty artichoke. So here's the front. I'm done with the front and the back, and I'm working on the sleeves now. It's satin sleeve, which I love. So I just finished the sleeve cap up here, and I'm gonna, you know, start on the actual sleeve, and then I'll have to do this side. And look at the back. Oh my God, it is absolutely gorgeous. So there's this Latvian braid up here, but the pattern opens up in the back to see this lace panel. This beautiful, beautiful lace panel. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. I don't know how well you can see it, but it is just gorgeous. Right now, it's not attached to the sides. It will be eventually attached to the sides, so I won't be like flashing people when I wear it. Just picture it right now. Like, look at how gorgeous that is. I fell in love with this pattern the moment I saw it. Just absolutely in love with it. It's been about a month so far, and I'm doing so good. I'm almost done with it. I've used about 5 skeins so far, and I'm on my 6th now, so progress is going good. Next, I would like to, this pattern isn't even out yet. It's coming out this weekend. It is called the Camille Dress, and it is by Johanna Gerich. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have looked it up. I really should have. But she is at colibri.by_Johanna on Instagram. I'll link her. I'll link her and the project down there in the description. It is a brand new pattern. It's not even out yet as of recording this video. It came out the day after recording this. I'm so excited. I saw it on her Instagram page while it's still in testing, and I thought, I need to do that. I need to make that. So the yarn isn't here yet. I promise that is the last time I will be buying yarn for the foreseeable future. I had to buy new yarn for this project because I just don't have it. I'm going to be using a Lana Grossa Cosmo in number 17, which is like this beautiful like sequined yarn. Oh, it's so cute. And then the pattern calls for Lana Grossa silk hair. It is very expensive to get that sent here from what I could find. And the place where I got the Lana Grossa Cosmo, they didn't have the color I wanted in stock. So I'm going with Drops Kid Silk instead in the color Bordeaux. Beautiful pattern. Cannot wait for it to come out. You will be kept updated. The last like solid plan I have is to make stockings for my boyfriend and I for Christmas. So there are 2 patterns by Jamie St. George. She is at Brooklyn Handcrafted on Instagram, called the Nordic Heirloom Stocking and the Holly Jolly Heirloom Stocking. My cousin's wife made these for the 2 of them last Christmas, and she was so excited to show me. So I'm gonna do it this year now that my boyfriend and I have our own place. And I'm going to be using some Premier Yarns Everyday Worsted that I have from a kit that I didn't really make. So yeah, it's gonna be in a bunch of different colors: Snow White, Really Red, Clover, Quartz Pink, and Christmas Green. And again, you will be kept updated. that's really it for solid plans that I have. Like, there's a bunch of patterns in my queue right now. They're set to change, you know, like I move things around all the time. I find things I want to make more than others, and so my queue is not 100% accurate, but like I'm gonna try and stick to it. But yeah, that's it for my first video. I thank you so much for watching. All the other videos will not be like this, just me sitting and staring at you and talking, I promise. There's gonna be links in the description for Retro Clawed, my inspiration, all of the patterns that I mentioned in this video, as well as my Ravelry and my Instagram. So yeah, if you're interested, please feel free to check it out. Thank you again for watching. I'm excited to keep going, and yeah, I'll see y'all soon.